Definition of sales. Sales are the total amount charged to customer for merchandise sold, including cash and credit sales. Sales can be defined as the process of fulfilling the needs of seller and buyers, both in cash and credit. Sometimes many people have a misunderstanding about the term sales, which is considered the same as the term marketing. For example, a salesperson or sales manager to talk about marketing, but the real issues to be discussed is a sale. Both of these terms has a scope that sale is the science and art of personal influence made by the seller to invite others to be willing to purchase the goods or service it offers. So, with the sale, a process of exchanging goods and or service can be created between the seller and the buyer. In our economy, money economy, someone who sells something will get a monetary reward. It will easier for people to fulfill their desires, and selling will be easier to do. The long distance out of reach is not a problem for the seller. The smarter a person is in selling goods or service, the faster he will achieve success in carrying out these duties, while the desired goals will be carried out immediately. In all fields, sales tactics must be used so that the service profit to others can profit satisfaction. In this satisfaction, it is hoped that they can become good customers. In making sales, sellers are required to have talent and expertise to influence others. This talent is often not possessed by everyone. It is not easy to direct the will of prospective buyers by presenting various reasons and their income. Sales process. Number 1. Preparation before selling. The first step in the personal selling process is to make preparation before making a sale. In this step, the activities carried out are to prepare the sellers for sale by providing an understanding of the goods they sell, the target market, and the sales technique that must be carried out. In addition, business owners must first know the possibilities about the motivation and behavior of the target market segment. Number 2. Determining the location of the buyers. The seller can determine the characteristic such a location. Therefore, in the second stage, the location of the market segment that in the target is determined. From this location can be made a list of people or company that are logically potential buyers of the product offered. From existing customer, it can also be determined which customer have and can use competing product. Number 3. Preliminary approach prior to the sale. The seller must learn all the problems of individual or company that can be expected as buyers. Various kinds of information need to be collected to support product offerings to buyers. For example, about buying habits, preference, and so on. All this activity is conducted as a preliminary approach to the market. Number 4. Making sales. Sales are made starting from an effort to attract the attention of potential customer. The endeavor to find out their attractive. And finally, the seller sells his product to customer. Some of the service provided by the seller after sale is might include providing warranty, providing repair service, operations, staff training, and how to use it, home delivery. Type of sales. The sales process in a benchmark for many aspects of a business. However, there is not only of one type of sales in business. There are several types of sales that business owners need to know and learn in order to stay in business. The following are the types of sales. Number 1. Cash sales. Cash sales are a type of sales that are carried out in cash. Payment is made by the buyer in cash and is completed in one transaction. Number 2. Credit sales. This type of credit sale is a type of sale whose payment is made on credit or in installments within a certain period of time. The amount of the installment is adjusted to how long their credit is taken. Usually, the seller will add interest for its installment, but there are also those with interest. Number 3. Tender sales. Tender sales are carried out through a tender process. To be able to get a tender, we must follow the existing tender sales procedure. Tender sales also have their own procedures. Their provisions are made according to the needs of the sellers and the buyers. Number 4. Export sales. Export sales are carried to with buyers who come from abroad. This is usually the case for larger business, so that it is easy for the business to get buyers who come from abroad. Number 5. Consignment sales. This type of consignment sales is usually a sale that uses a third-party product or service sold past through reseller before reaching the buyer. Number 6. Wholesale sales. This type of wholesale sales is almost similar to consignment sales. It's just that wholesale sellers are sold at retail store wholesale seller, and usually the price from wholesale seller practice in cheaper. Benefit and sales goals. The reason why there is a sale is because the business will benefit a lot from the sale. The following are the benefits of sale that a business can get. Get certain profit. Profit, of course, is very beneficial for business. Profit can bring high profit to the business so that the business can grow more rapidly and smoothly. With the high profit earned from sales, of course, the business will benefit and also costs from other operations. Proper financial management is needed so that profits from sales can be allocated from business development appropriately. Getting sales volumes. It is necessary for the business to achieve the sales target that have been determined. Targets are usually met so that the business can continue to operate with the income of funds for its certain period. Business growth. The higher sales will make it easier for the business to grow rapidly. The higher the sales figures, the higher the profits and profit obtained by the company. Factor affecting sales. Number 1. Condition and ability of the seller, transaction of sales and purchase or transfer of commercial property, right over goods and service. Is that case? In principle, it involves two parties, namely the seller as the first party and the buyer as the second party. Here, the seller must be able to convince the buyer in order to successfully achieve the expected sales goals. In this case, the seller must be able to understand several important issues that are very related, namely, type and characteristic of good offered, product price, term of sale. These problems are usually the center of attention of buyers before making a purchase. In addition, managers need to pay attention to the numbers and characteristics of the sales force that be used. The qualities that a good salesperson needs to possess include: Number 1. Polite. Number 2. Sociable. Number 3. Good at talking. Number 4. Have an attractive personality. Number 5. Physically healthy. Number 6. Hotness. Number 7. Know the ways of the selling, and so on. Market condition. The market as a group of buyers or parties who are the target of the sale can also affect its sales activity. These are several market conditions that must be considered, namely, type of market, what is the customer market, seller market, industrial market, government market or international market, purchasing power. Capital. It will be more difficult for the seller to sell the goods being sold are not yet known by the prospective buyers, or if the location of the buyer is far from the seller's place. Number 4. The consolidation of the company organization in large companies is usually handled by a separating sections sales department, which is held by certain people or experts in the fields of sales. It is different with small company where sales problems are handled by people who also perform other functions. This is because the number of works is less, the organizational system is simpler. The problems faced and the facilities they have are also not as complex as larger companies. Usually this sales problem is addressed by the leadership itself and is not given to others. Sales strategy. What is meant by a sales strategy is to move the customer position to the buying stage in the decision-making process. Third, face-to-face selling. Generally, sales objectives are expressed in terms of sales volume. This goal can be broken down based on determining whether the sales volume to be achieved is based on an operating or salesperson in an operating area. Operational objectives are also usually expressed in terms of gross margin target, maximum spending levels, or the achievement of certain goals such as capturing competitor customer. A notes presentation from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you next time.